If you enjoy this podcast, then be sure to check out Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily, where you can get your daily dose of farm wisdom. Tune in every day to learn the latest tips, tricks, and stories from the world of farming. Whether you're a seasoned farmer or just getting started, our podcast has something for everyone. Join us as we explore topics like farm business, crop planning, soil management, and tools and technology. Start your day off right with Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily, available on all major podcast platforms. Don't miss out. Subscribe today.
Nicholas, can you kind of give us an idea of how organic production, like organic vegetable production, has changed over the last 32 years? Maybe even just specifically at Crystal Organic, but I imagine that you've seen a lot of changes happen, whether it's like soil amendments or sales outlets or so on and so forth over this 3 decades.
Well, the so when I started in 1990, there was no internet. So I mean, just imagine a world without internet. It's hard to do, but all you had were books, and there weren't many books. And the main one for a lot of us that started around that time was Elliot Coleman's book, the Four Seasons, I think it's called.
New Organic.
Yeah, the New Organic Grower. That's it. And so I basically took that information and applied it to this climate here. And obviously things are different, and the soil's different. But that was basically the knowledge that I had. There were many people doing it, so it's not like you couldn't really go get an internship or go volunteer on a farm because they weren't around.
Yeah, especially down here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so just imagine the difference of how it is now. And obviously that took 30 years to build. But the biggest change is more in, I can see the interest from the universities, and they want to study, and they really want to do research on the different products. I feel like that's been going on for a good while, but just because of that research, the amount of different products that are available now. I mean, when I first started, it was chicken manure. That's basically what we've been able to find.
Yeah.
And now we find these fertilizer blends that are, pretty good, delivered. I mean, they're it's all right there.
Yeah, there was no Seven Springs Farm Supply when you started.
Although they started around 30 years ago as well. So they started at the same time, but that's all pre-internet days. And only that really come about with the internet. Well, no, I think they had a catalog and stuff. What they offered was totally different than what they offer now.
Yeah.
I mean, you want your herbicides that are, that are Armory approved. I've never used any herbicide, but the weeds are really killing us sometimes. And so, we bought a product. We're going to give it a try and see if we can somehow or another, it's Armory approved, if we can somehow or another take that off our plate, because the weeds, over the 30 years, the weeds have also increased. We have a lot of noxious weeds that we don't have now, one being the Donck fennel.
Uh-huh.
That was not around 30 years ago. The false dandelion, I don't remember having all of them around. So the thistles, they've been around, but we just have so many new weeds. Grasshoppers weren't as bad. The fire ants weren't as bad. All that was kind of increased in intensity. I think there's two reasons. One reason is that I've been growing here, so you're promoting the habitat for these insects. Also, the weeds not so much, but the insects at least. And obviously, the climate's changed over the years.
Yeah. Can you touch on that? Can you just talk about how you've seen sort of like weather patterns and climate change shifts happen on your time on the farm?
Yeah, I remember cold days all the way back for 30 years. Every so often we would have the weather going to teens. So, that's not so abnormal. I think the biggest is the frequency of it all. Sometimes, like this year, the longevity of the cold seems to be more. Usually, I remember a max of 3 days, and but now I feel like we've had this winter at least these couple stretches. Now I don't know. Is it climate change? I mean, it's a possibility. We definitely need to do something, but it's also weather. It's just sometimes that's how it happens. But we definitely need to be very aware of the changes and do what we all can to do our parts, because I don't feel like it's getting any better. I think it's only kind of like,
When you say like the summer, you talked about getting more tropical, like
yeah, more
more
tropical.
subtropical, or like
Yeah, there's last couple falls when it's been so hot and dry. I don't really
Mhm.
remember having that. The last few years, what I have noticed is that there's been more crops that have not done well than I'm used to. And there again, climate could definitely have something to do with it. Farmer does. I mean, it's always the soil.
Mhm.
That comes to the farmer. But sometimes it just. I mean, you remember when we had all these squash bugs like we had this summer that
Yeah.
just devastated all winter squash. That has never happened.
Yeah.
So that was just intense.
Well, and the USDA like officially changed all the hardiness zones. They kind of bumped everybody up a little bit or down, however you think about it. And so there is obviously some sort of a shift happening where kind of the growing conditions, the kind of the climate conditions are changing. We are like steadily inching closer and closer to like a subtropical. I mean, yeah, we're growing like awesome citrus in South Georgia now, and stuff like that. And so we'll be doing that stuff out here sooner before you know it.
We're talking about maybe growing some lemon trees under high tunnel, because the tree that we had in pots and so well. But just to finish the question about the change, I mean, I feel like everybody that gets into this now, that is like in the 20s and 30s, there's just so much knowledge now, and
Mhm.
people's the capability of finding the knowledge. You don't even have to learn it. It's all available. I mean, pretty soon we're going to have a PhD. I mean, we already do. We're going to have a PhD professor on our phone, because everything we need to know we can ask. I think that's changing the ball game even more, and I feel like of how data, everything will be driven, and just so much information. I think people need to realize that, for me anyway, intuition is what. I mean,
Mhm.
you can't rely on just a computer. You gotta think. You gotta have intuition. You gotta feel it, because at the end of the day, that's how I have done it.
Today's episode is brought to you by Modern Grower, a proud retailer of the Sumi Soaker system. The Sumi Soaker system is an irrigation game changer. It offers multiple advantages for market gardeners. Even gentle watering without dry spots common with wobblers. The system is lightweight and portable, so you can use it with quick rotation crops. It's low maintenance with no parts to break or clog. It's versatile. You can use it for direct seeding, transplants, and cover crops. And it's very cost effective compared to overhead options. And maybe one of its best and most unique features is it can put down water in a rectangular pattern, which is very different than rotating sprinklers that leave circular patterns, often with dry corners and overwatered centers. If you want to learn more about the Sumi Soaker system, use the link below or visit us at shop.moderngrower.co.